Hello mates, welcome to Budgie Gaming. I'm your host Finley. Today we're looking at Meteorfall Krumit's Tale, a deck-building roguelite game where you use your cards to clear dungeons, then upgrade your deck with new cards and perks after you clear each round. Before we go any farther, I'd like to thank developer Slothworks and publisher Indianova for the review code. I very much appreciate it. Meteorfall is releasing for the Switch and PS5 on September 26th for $14.99 and has already been out on Steam for a while now at the same price. In Meteorfall, you start out with a deck of basic cards, which is shuffled with enemies and dealt out in a 3x3 grid. Defeat monsters to earn gold, then use that gold to buy the cards from the grid to put into your hand. You can either use these cards right away or save them for later. Sometimes you have to be choosy on what you hold onto, since you can only hold onto 4 cards at a time. These cards range from potions, to weapons, to armor, to passive buffs, to attacks you can use to weaken enemies before you enter a one-on-one fight with them. Once you remove a card or enemy from the grid, a new one will appear. You will know which card is dropping next, because the image will be in the upper right corner of the grid. If you're the type of player who enjoys a ton of unlockables, then you'll love Meteorfall. This game has a ton of them. There are a total of 6 characters, and each character has over 50 unique cards. In addition, there are over 50 perks to unlock as well. You unlock everything by leveling up and completing runs. Each run averages 30 to 60 minutes, but it's definitely a lot less in the early portions of the game since you'll be dying a lot. And some runs might last a little longer once you unlock more cards, since you'll be spending more time deciding how you want to build your deck. I know I mentioned you'll be dying a lot early on, but don't worry, this isn't an overly difficult game. I'd actually say it's quite friendly for roguelite beginners, which I will get into a little later. In Meteorfall, there are 4 different game modes to choose from. First, you have Adventure Mode, which is you trying to complete the 9 runs. You have Daily Run Mode. I'm not sure if this changes every day since it's, well, a daily quest. But when I played, all your deck consisted of was a few treasure chests that give you 2 coins and a ton of pirate lockboxes, which cost 2 coins each. Pirate lockboxes have 2 random items to choose from, and you have no clue what you'll get. Maybe a really powerful weapon, maybe some potion, or if you're really unlucky, maybe a shitty weapon. Honestly, I've very much enjoyed this mode since it switched things up quite a bit. Mutation mode has a wide range of crazy gameplay mechanics that switch the gameplay up, such as only fighting in boss rushes, endless mode, where you survive as long as you can, pirate's booty, which is basically the mode I just described earlier in the daily run mode, sealed mode, where you start with too many cards in your deck, so you have to narrow it down to which 12 cards you want. And these are just some of the options in mutation mode. There are quite a few more options to choose from. And lastly, there is Explorer mode, which gives you a helping hand in various ways, such as giving your character 10 extra health points, bosses having 50% less health, starting with an extra 4 gold, along with many other options to help you. You can select as many of these extra benefits as you'd like. This is awesome for someone who either isn't great at these games, or for someone who doesn't have the time nor patience doing countless runs to level up their characters and unlock weapons. Of course, that'll make the game even easier if you do take the time to do those things. But this is a great way for newbies to jump right into the game without worrying about getting their ass handed to them in their first few runs, which will happen if you don't start with Explorer mode. Also, if you're new to roguelites, these accessibility options make this game a perfect introduction for players new to the genre. Even if you're not new to these types of games, it is pretty fun to play this mode just to destroy all the enemies in 1 or 2 shots, which feels great since they get pretty tough in the regular story mode. Another cool feature is the Continue Adventure mode, which basically saves your adventure at any point if you decide to quit, and you're able to pick up exactly where you left off. I don't know why, but I honestly wasn't expecting this feature. There are a total of 6 characters to play, and they all have their own strengths and weaknesses. Bruno is your basic warrior type who always has to fight enemies one-on-one. Greybeard is the wizard who is much better at damaging enemies outside of battles. Basically, he damages from afar without getting into battle. Of course, there'll be times where you have to go one-on-one with enemies, but when playing as Greybeard, you'll want to weaken the enemies as much as possible before doing so. Mischief plays very much like a rogue in World of Warcraft, where she does the most damage when she has stealth mode activated, or when enemies are by themselves. If she isn't in stealth mode, she has a very weak attack. Muldorf is essentially a necromancer, Once you defeat an enemy, they turn into a tombstone. Here, you're given the option to either sacrifice 3 of your health to summon a skeleton minion to help you battle, or you can suck the blood out of the fallen enemy and recover 2 health points. A lot of his weapons and attacks have life-stealing effects, where you suck the life out of enemies, which gives you health in return. Rose relies on curses and healing, as nearly every card in her deck has healing effects to some capacity, making her pretty hard to kill. She's one of those characters that starts off kind of crappy, but if you get the right cards in her deck, she can heal like crazy while one-shotting most enemies. Lastly, we have Varfa, who plays very much like a hunter. Basically, he kind of feels like a mix between the wizard, because most of his best attacks are before you enter one-on-one battles, and the necromancer, since you have a companion who can help you fight enemies. Honestly, when I started the game, I was kind of bored because I chose Bruno the Warrior as my first character. Turns out it was just the character that bored me, because once I started playing as the hunter and wizard, I was starting to really enjoy the game, which is why you should try every character and try to unlock every character to see which one fits your playstyle. Luckily, it's not very hard or grindy to unlock characters. All you need to do is level your current characters up to level 3 to unlock the next character, which can easily be done in 2 runs, maybe even 1 run if you have a really good run. The presentation for this game is fantastic. The art style is absolutely adorable. It looks like a mix between Adventure Time and Castle Crashers, and it looks great. The voice acting and sound design are fantastic. The music is whimsical and charming, and I love how they use the sound in the PS5 controller. It does get really loud, but luckily they give you the option to turn the volume really low or completely off if you wish to do so. Now, as much as I enjoyed this game, there are a few issues I have with it. The first thing being the character menu can be very sluggish. I'm not sure why this is the only place that has a slowdown. You'd think it'll be the actual gameplay where there is a lot more going on, but nope, it only happened to me in the character menu. Another issue was the game not responding to me moving the joystick. Again, this only happens in one section of the game, when you're in between battles while selecting your buffs and cards for the next run. Again, I'm not sure why it happens in this one area, but it is annoying. Luckily, neither of these issues are game-breaking, particularly because they don't happen during gameplay segments. But hopefully there'll be an update to fix these issues. I should also mention that this is for the PS5 version. I'm not sure if this is an issue with all versions, or if it's just a PS5 issue. Overall, I really enjoyed my time with this game. I probably put in a little over 10 hours so far, and unlocked every character. I see myself playing this quite a bit more. While my review was for the PS5, I could see this being a great Switch game since each run will take less than an hour, so it'll be the perfect game to play on lunch breaks, on the plane or subway, or in between classes. That is assuming it runs well on the Switch or Switch 2. Alright now, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more videos like this, please hit that like and subscribe button. It's a huge help for my small channel, and I'd love to hit 250 subscribers by the end of this year. Let me know down below if you'll be picking this game up. Until next time, take care, mates.